My name's Adam. In this video, I'm going to create a navigation slide drawer which demonstrates using a UI swipe gesture. Gestures are, when you touch the screen and you can gesture to the right, left, up, or down. So let's begin. So first we have to open an Xcode and create a new Xcode project. I'm going to start with an empty application. Empty project. Let's call this just simply navigation or slide drawer. I'll just call this slide drawer. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to do devices. I'm going to do iPhone. Next, create, enhance the screen. Now, normally when you do a project, sometimes you need more frameworks in the libraries. You would come down here and add, hit the plus, and you would search for whatever you needed, whichever framework you needed, and add accordingly. For this sample, it's not necessary. So for now, we're just going to leave this as is. I'm going to go ahead and close, just get out of the way. And now in the delegate, we actually have to make a root view controller point to the view that we want to create. I actually have not, obviously it's a blank project, so let's go ahead and create a UI view controller as our page. So File, New, File, excuse me, Xcode class, and again it's set to UI view controller, but this is where you navigate to what you want, what object you want to create. So we do want UI view controller with the XIB, so we have the interface builder, and we will call this just main view controller. Select next. We do want to create, and here we go. We have our interface builder comes right up, but we also have our .h header file, .m file, and a interface builder. Before we start, actually, so I don't forget, let's add it to our app delegate. Our app delegate basically tells the when you run it, it'll tell what to do or which page to, how to launch your app or your project. So we want to tell it to point to our newly created UI view. Excuse me, UI view controller. So we have to import the UI view controller that we just created. So let's do that now. And now create an instance of it. So main view controller, do main, just call it MV for short, and we want to allocate with init with div name string, and it's going to be main view controller bundle nil and semicolon. Now we have our main view controller, but we need to add it to the root view controller for the window. So we want to do self dot window dot root view controller, and we're going to set that to the MV which we just made. So now that we have that, we're good to go. So moving on, close. Now we can go back to our XIB file as a builder. So for this, we want to have, I'm going to leave the status bar showing it's on with the battery. So we actually we're going to have our slider menu, when you use the gestures, it's going to come out below the status bar. So we have to get the height of that status bar, but that we're going to do in the .m file. For now, let's just put a label in the middle for a title for the main page, so you can see the drawer coming across it. And let's also do a button. Yeah, I'll put a button on here, and the button will also control the open and drawer, or the open and close of the drawer, adding two features. So the gesture and the button will control it. Let's put a label somewhere here. Stretch it out. Now with Xcode, I do like using the interface builder because their drag and drop interface builder is very nice. You can pretty much put your label wherever you want it in the center. Here's the vertical guideline, and it just works flawlessly. So moving on, we want to center. We can increase the font a little bit, and we're just going to default the text to hello. Now a button, we're going to put somewhere under here. I'm going to make that a little larger and put it in the center. Now make the text or the font a little larger and put this as, we'll just call it menu. And let's put the background color a little bit different just so it stands out. So under, again, I'm using just the inspector views, and you can go down and change where you change the font and the title, default title. You can also come down here and do background and pick a background. Let's just do green, and if we do that though, let me change it to white, or let's just change it to black. And there's our menu, or menu button, excuse me. So a menu and a label and a button. I'm going to use the assistant editor, move over to the .h, and what I'm going to do is drag the menu button over to the .h, and it's very nice. Again, I don't know if you use the assistant editor or not, but when you do, you can drag it over and you can actually assign it to an outlet or an action. In this case, it's a button, so it's an action, and we want to do menu. I'll just call it menu button. And there we go, it creates that. And it also puts it in the .m file, ready to use, and we'll initialize that later, or do the control method in a few minutes. So let's go moving on to the .h file. We need an instance I'm going to use for our menu drawer. I'm going to use a UI view, and I'm just going to call it menu drawer. Now we already have our action button here. I'm actually going to use a few different variables, so let me do that first so we have them available when we move to the .m file, and synthesize them, of course. So we have property. We want to set this up, and we want to, let's see, do a UI swipe gesture recognizer. This will allow us to have variables to point to our left and right directional gestures, so that we can add that to our view, to our main view. We'll call this recognizer. Let's just copy, save a little time, open, and we'll do close. So we have two. We have an open, we have a close. We also make a couple integers. So I want to store the menu X origin, so we have that, and we also the X origin, because the X origin is going to be the one to move left and right. Also the width of the drawer, So we want menu drawer X and menu drawer, whoops, width, which you can make the width however big you want. I tend to make it, like for this, I'm going to do about 3/4 of the main view. Usually seems about good, but you can adjust that accordingly. Also, okay, we have our action button, but we need something to handle the swipes the swipes, and also the button. So we need when you handle the swipe, it's going to actually pass it off to the animation, which is going to change the X value of the menu drawer. Or we're also going to need to have a separate method so that the button can also call that as well. So we'll have to have two. So I'm going to first create one to handle. So we'll just call it handle swipe, or handle swipes. Handle swipes. That's good. But we want to pass the gesture or the swipe gesture recognizer into it as a sender, and we want to, let's see, both when you click the button and when you gesture, you want to activate a method to actually do the animation and start the drawer, either open or closed. So this one I'll do drawer animation. No, just like that. So now that we have that, we can go to our .m, and I believe I'm going to copy that, so make it a little quicker. I believe we have everything we need. Let's go ahead and synthesize our integers. So menu drawer, menu X, and our recognizers. So we have the synthesized of all four, all four variables. So we're going to do things down in our view did load. Okay, here's our sender, our action button, I mean. Let's put, well, I guess we can, hold on. Alright, we can put it down here. So we have the action button, handle swipes, and put our braces, and drawer animation. So when we come up to here, what we want to do is, because we're going to use the status bar, let's go ahead and store the status bar height and capture that. So status bar, oh, not var, bar. And we want to do UI application, shared application, and as you see, we have many methods already stored in the SDK, and we want to go to the status bar frame because we want to get the size, and from the size, the height. Then we can get the menu, well, the drawer width. So the menu drawer, let's go to the width and use let's see, we'll do self, we'll use the main view, we'll take the frame and take the width, so size, and let's multiply that by, and I'll just do about 3/4, so 0.75. So once we have the menu drawer width, and again, you can make that whatever you want, bigger, wider, or thinner. So the menu origin, or menu X origin, let's start that as, now we need to do self dot the main view frame dot origin, same as the X, but we don't want it to be open when it first loads. so we want it to be closed. So we have to actually subtract now the menu drawer width. Menu drawer, yes, menu drawer width, and close it. That way it moves it past, beyond, beyond the origin of the main view. So now we can declare, or now we can set up the actual drawer itself of the view. It's a UI view allocate. Now we want to init with a frame, and I'm going to use the CG rect make. And now the X, which we've already declared, so we want menu drawer X origin. Now the Y, we're going to use the main, so we want self.view.frame origin, and the Y, but we want to subtract, we want to add, I still did subtract, we want to add that status bar height that we got up here. So if you do status bar height, that'll actually start it below or at the bottom of the status bar. We already have the menu drawer width, so we'll plug that in here. And for the height, we do want the main view height, but we want the main view height minus the status bar height, so that, because we've already actually moved it down a little bit with the origin. So the self.frame let's see. So we want, let's see, self dot, I'll just copy this. Instead of the origin, though, we want height, or I'm sorry, size, height, minus the drawer of the status bar. Okay, so basically what we did, when we create the drawer, we initialize it, set it up with the width at the X that we created, based, so it's off the out of bounds of the main view, and the height is below, starts below the X of the status bar, and we do minus status bar height on the bottom, so it goes down to the bottom to offset. Now what we want to do, let's give it just kind of a color. So menu drawer, I think it's background color, yes. We want UI color, let's just make it red, that way it'll stand out. And let's see. Okay, here's our recognizers. We didn't do that. Now the close, we actually have to initialize it first. So UI swipe, allocate, and we want to init with target, because we have a target action selector of the handle swipes. So we want to do self, and instead of string, we want to go to selector, and we want to do handle swipes, which is the one we created earlier, which is that. And we also have to create, which I'm just going to copy, because both right now are going to still go to handle swipes. So the recognizer open, and I'm just going to paste the same. So both of them are going to be created with the selector handle swipe, which we have yet to define, but it's down here. Then you have to put the direction, so that we can just put the direction and say close is the direction and open is the direction. The close is going to be to the left, and if you open it, it's going to be, when you go to the right, it'll come out and open. So the close. I'll do that one first. Now they have direction, and that is going to be the UI swipe. There it is. Swipe gesture recognizer direction. We're on close, so we want to go to the left. No, yeah, close to the left. Right there, and let's see. So now we have to create the same thing, but for the right, which is going to be the open. Open, and just to save time, let's do that. And there's the right. Now we're going to add them. Let's see, we have both directions. Yeah, we're going to add them to the view. So I'm going to do self.view. I'm going to add a gesture. And we already have them. So open. And I want to add to the view close. So once we initialize them, put the directions on them, we add them, and now we want to add the actual menu view itself to the main view because we've only just created the menu drawer. We have to add it to our main as a subview. So self.view, add subview, menu drawer. So that will actually add it to the main view. Now, when you let's do handle swipes first. When you do the handle swipes, if you want to, actually, for right now, the animation is actually going to handle whether it's open or closed. So we just have to really pass off the handle swipes to the drawer animation. But if you want to use a gesture and say test for one, since the gesture is the sender, what you want to do, you can do you know, if do sender dot, and it's the direction. So pick a direction, and if it equals UI swipe, so if it equals right, okay, then we're going to go ahead and do something, you know, do stuff. Okay, but in this case, if you do right or left, we're just still going to do the same thing because the animation drawer, the drawer animation is going to actually handle open or close. So for here, right now, I'm just going to do self and drawer animation. Same with the action or the menu button. When you push the menu button, it's actually, we can go ahead and do that. Self drawer animation. So whether you click the button or the handle swipes with the finger, you know, when you gesture right or left, it's going to do drawer animation. So moving down here, when we set this up, we have to actually set up. We're going to put it into just a animation duration. So we have to set up the animation delegate, and in doing so, you want to do a UI view begin animation. Oop. All right, there we go. And for right now, we're just going to begin animation on the view, and we have to set an animation delegate to the self. So UI view set, and of course, as you see, there are many different aspects of animation, which I may do other animation tutorials. But for now, let's just, for this beginning one, do set animation delegate to the self. And let's see what else. time interval. So we need to say, do we want the drawer to move fast, slow? How do you want it to go? So we want to do a UI view set ns time interval, which is on the duration. So now what I found, see, if you put a value 0, it's going to actually almost instantaneously do that animation or do that. So we don't want to go faster. We want to actually slow it down, but not too slow. What I found is a -5 is actually a pretty good number. If you go, you can vary it. If you put a positive number, you put 5 or 10, it's going to go super fast, or super slow. You can go the other way, negative. So again, you can test it out yourself and see, how you will actually like the drawer to open and close. Moving on, now once we have that set up, we have to actually create, since the X value origin of the drawer is actually going to be different because it's going to be either open or closed, so it's going to have to move. So I want to create an integer for the for the new X origin. Let's see. It's actually, let's see. What do we want to do? Actually a float. CG. All right, let's see. What are we doing? So we haven't tested for the drawer open or closed yet to change that value. I'm trying to think best way to do this. Probably, yeah. Let's do it this way. Let's just do a CG float. Let's see. Call it new X. Actually, it's point. We're not doing. Yeah, I think it's. Let's see. All right. Let's see. So let's grab the menu, or let's just do. Set that to 0, and then we'll change it. So let's see. If now we go to menu drawer dot frame dot origin dot the X. Now, if that happens to be less than the menu, the mainframe self dot view dot frame dot origin dot X. That means it's actually closed. So we want to open it. So we actually want to make. So we want to make the drawer increase by the width. Let's see, increase by the menu drawer width, so that it moves it open. So we'll take the menu. So we'll take the new X is going to equal the menu drawer dot frame dot origin. So it's going to be the X, but it's going to be plus the width. So that way, if it's closed, we want to open it. And now, of course, doing the opposite, to put into an else, we want to assign the new, if it's actually greater than, we actually want to subtract it and go back off of that. So it's going to be actually the same. instead of plus, we want to actually subtract that width back. And then, of course, once we have it, then we can create the new frame. Menu drawer dot frame. We do want to use a CG rect make. Okay, so we have the X origin, which is the new X. So new. Everything else is actually going to stay the same because we've changed it, whether we have an open drawer or whether we have a closed drawer. So to leave everything the same, we're just going to do, or I don't want self, I want menu, drawer, frame, origin.y, menu, drawer, frame, we want size.width, and of course, last but not least, frame.size, and we want height. Because we've already defined it, so we still want to make that or leave that as the same. But the last thing we want to do, we have to commit the animation so it actually will move. We'll actually put it into the animation and move it. So we want to do UI view, and we do a commit animations, and that should be it. Now let's run. I'm going to run this on a 4-inch screen, and let's see what happens. Well, going a little slow today. Let's see. Running. See, and you can take this and add different labels. You can, practice adding stuff. Okay, so here's our label. Here's our button. And to do the gesture first, let's see. Here we go. So I went to the right. It opens. I can also close it. And notice it's under our status bar. Now if I click the button, it does the same thing. And of course our button's covered, so we have to do that. So again, and if you want to add something in here, you would add, like we added our subview, our menu to the main. You actually would create, say, a label and add that as a subview to our menu drawer, and then that way that would be here. So again, there's different options. I hope you like this video, and thank you for watching. Please like our video. Thank you.